We're holding the meeting by phone because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the stay-at-home order. So we should have on the phone the attorney, Reed Murtaugh, our clerk treasurer, Michelle, our town manager, Mark Harlow, and I don't know if town marshal is here. Is Scott on?
No, he is not attending.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. So we'll need to start by roll call. Al Beavers. Al, are you here?
Al will be on.
Okay, I just texted him. Okay. Stan Kiger. No, Stan.
I'm here.
Okay.
Come on, Abby.
Ashley Stevenson.
I'm here.
Ron Kohler.
I'm here.
And then I'm here, Jen Menego. So all 5 council members are present. So
Yes, this is Stan. I'm probably on it.
Is Al here yet? Or?
I think he
I'm
just
here.
popped on. Yep.
Okay.
So new and old business, I guess. I think I'll just hand it over to Mark. Maybe?
Yes.
That's fine. You want me to give the utility report?
Yes, please.
Yes, Mark.
Okay. So under new and old business, some of the items are listed. We'll just start with the first one that's under my area, which is the street sweeping. So each May we have street sweeping come in. Because we didn't want to make a commitment to it at the last meeting, it's now been tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, June 9th. The annual cost for that is around $990. So I'd like to get approval to move forward with that.
I'd make a motion that we approve the street sweeping. This is Ashley Stevenson.
I second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Ashley to approve the street sweeping and seconded by Ron. We'll do a roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the motion carries.
Okay, the next item is the hydrant flushing. Each year we have 20% of the hydrants flow tested. We do that for 2 purposes. One is for the fire department to get fill out their paperwork for the insurance industry, and then the second thing is just maintenance on the hydrants. Each year we've done that for the last 2 years. It costs $2,150, and then they send us back a report that I then share with the Sheffield Township Fire Department. So I'm requesting approval to move forward with that again with the company M.E. Simpson.
I make a motion that we approve the fire hydrant test with the
Second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Ashley to approve the hydrant flushing for $2,150 and seconded by Ron. We'll do a roll call vote. Ashley?
Can you open it up for discussion?
Oh, sorry.
Just,
yeah. We'll open it up for discussion.
Okay, now you can go ahead, Jen.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So motion passes.
The next item is lift station maintenance. So each spring and fall, we have FJF, a company that comes in and does the cleaning on the lift stations and then does the electronic checks to make sure that everything's running well. Each spring and fall, it costs $1,500. It seems to be something that's well worth it simply because we get a lot of grease and soap buildup in there, and it does have effect on the floats, which signal the pumps to kick on. So I'm requesting approval to have the maintenance done on the lift stations.
I make a motion that we approve FJF to do maintenance on our lift station.
Second it.
Okay, but there's been a motion.
Who was that seconded?
Ron?
Just for the record.
Ron.
Thank you.
There's been a motion made by Ashley and seconded by Ron to approve the lift station maintenance for $1,500. We'll open it up for discussion. Okay, no discussion. We'll take a roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is the sewer meter calibration. Each year, Lafayette Renew, Lafayette Wastewater, requires us to have our meter calibrated so that both them and ourselves are getting an accurate measurement for what they bill us for. So it's an annual requirement. We always have BL Anderson do it. Usually around $1,000 to $1,100. So I'm requesting approval to have that done.
I make a motion that we have the sewer meter calibration done by BL Anderson.
Second it.
There's been a motion made by Ashley and seconded by Ron to have BL Anderson do our sewer meter calibration. We'll open it up for discussion. Okay, no discussion. We'll take a roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion passes.
The next item is something I'd mentioned at the last monthly teleconference, which was the tree and stump removals there at the shop and police station, the chain link fence behind it, and then also at the sewer station on the other side of 65. We had received 3 bids, the lowest being $1,800. And do you want to address this, Ron?
Yes. I had talked to Mark about this, and the stumps down there keep flushing out and coming back up, so we need to remove them permanently. And my suggestion is that we rent a backhoe from McAllister, and I'll go down there and actually remove all the stumps and debris completely, so we don't have to keep redoing this problem each year. I talked to McAllister, and the renting of the backhoe between $0 and $300. So if anybody doesn't have an objection, we can get it done and get it done right instead of keep putting money into it. But I'd like to have somebody make a motion to allow me to get that back and dig that out. And I don't charge anything, so there'll be no charge to me.
I make a motion to let Ron dig it out.
I would second.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Reed, your phone was breaking up.
I can't understand you, Reed. I still don't have you read. I don't know if anybody else does.
No, I'm getting a lot of buffering when he tries to talk. Hello?
Let me call back in.
Oh, we can hear you now.
You're okay now, Lee?
Now we can hear.
Oh, no.
Hello?
Why don't we give Reed a minute to call back in?
Yep.
This is Stan. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we have you, Stan.
Yep.
Because I went dead for a few minutes there.
Huh.
We can hear you, Stan.
Okay.
Hey, while we're waiting on Reed, I just have a couple things, just simply information.
This is Reed. Can
AT&T
you hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead, Reed.
I was
can hear
just
you.
gonna. Okay, I was just gonna say that I wanted to include in that motion the rental of the equipment from McAllister. I don't know if you guys included that.
So the rental
Yes.
would be up to $300, and that would be included in the motion?
Correct.
It was
Good.
Stan's motion.
Can we just let that one die without a second and then he can make a new motion?
Yes.
Okay. Motion dies for lack of a second.
I make a motion that we allow Ron Kohler to rent a backhoe, and the town would pay up to $300 for the rental of the backhoe to clear stumps and trees behind the police station and at our metering station by the interstate.
I second it.
There's been a motion made by Ashley and seconded by Stan for Ron to rent a backhoe for the town to pay up to $300 to remove the stumps and debris by the police station and the sewer station. We'll open it up for discussion. Okay, no discussion. We'll take a roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the motion passes.
Okay, so this is Mark again. Just a couple things I wanted to remind you about. One is, let's see, if you've seen my report, you'll see at the bottom about AT&T fiber optic. AT&T is running a fiber optic line from State Road 29 to Lafayette along State Road 38. So they're going to be running two fiber optic lines along 38 on the north side of it through Dayton this summer. And they contacted me and wanted to know if there was any fee or any permit required. So I'm not aware of a fee or a permit, but I thought I would ask you guys since you've been here longer than I have.
Ron, is that something that needs to be researched a little bit?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah, we need to look into that.
Okay, so we'll just take that under advisement. Is there a time they need to know by, Mark?
They were requesting the information last week, so I would say sooner than later would be best.
Okay.
The other item is that received a renovation permit from the county for the old car dealership here just south of Town Hall. That's going to be turned into a hair salon. Besides that, I didn't know if there was any questions about the other items that I have on my report. I'd be glad to answer any that you have. If not, that'll be it for me.
Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything for utilities meeting.
Okay. Michelle, did you have anything for utility meeting?
No.
Do any other council members have anything?
No.
No.
Then I guess we just need a meeting to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll
I
second.
second it.
There's been a motion made by Ron and seconded by myself to adjourn. Roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Myself? Yes. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, this is Ron Kohler. This is town board meeting, May 13, 2020. Roll call vote. Al, are you here?
Yes.
Jan, are you here?
Yep. Here.
Dan Kiger,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and I'm here, so all five are present. Okay, we have under the town attorney. Reed, would you like to take this over?
Yes. So first, I have a resolution to present. It's probably going to be easier just for me to read it. So it's a resolution of the town council of the town of Dayton to restrict public access to Dayton Town Hall for the duration of the public health emergency. And it states that whereas on March 6, 2020, Dayton County Health Department declared a public health emergency related to the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Whereas on March 6, 2020, the governor issued Executive Order 2002 declaring a public health emergency for coronavirus outbreak, directing local officials to cooperate with the Indiana State Department of Health in responding to the health emergency. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of Dayton, Indiana, that the Town of Dayton Town Council directs all entrances of Dayton Town Hall to remain locked and closed to the public, that this resolution shall be effective from and after its passage, and this resolution shall remain in effect until the declaration of public health emergency by both the Tippecanoe County Health Department and the governor is rescinded. Any questions, discussion?
So the public health emergency being in effect, the state, my understanding is, does allow gatherings with the proper social distancing in many scenarios, and there's a number on the people that can attend. How does the public health emergency affect the town hall when essentially we are allowed to gather if we have social distancing? The number of people would be limited. Are we going to be?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. So what this is saying is that the town board, previously has decided to close town hall to the public, and that decision is going forward until either one, the health emergency ends, or this resolution is canceled, if you guys come back. So this hasn't, we're not going to be under this has nothing to do with social distancing guidelines or other executive orders, regarding phases or anything like that. This is just if the town council wants to close town hall as they have already done and continue that on.
Well, if it has no bearing on social distancing and maybe number of people, it seems to me that we could leave town hall open, or we could open it at the proper time to allow, the one person at a time or two people at a time to come in and conduct business with the utility office or clerk treasurer's office, or to allow people to come in to meet with Mark Harlow or town council members.
Yeah, it's not my. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that this resolution is legally required. This is just a decision for the town council, just like it was to close to the public in the first place. So yeah, I mean, I guess.
Well, we didn't
this
have
is
a
opening up. What's that?
I don't recall a resolution to close town hall. I don't know why we need one to keep it closed that we're proposing now, and I don't know why, with the proper safeguards in place, why a person cannot come into the building to conduct the business that they have with, again, the utility office, the clerk's office, Mark Harlow, or council members.
Actually,
Yeah, it's not a legal question, it's a decision for the town board. So I'm just going to open it up to the town board, and if you have any legal questions, I'd be happy to answer. But it's really what you guys want to do.
This is Ron. Can I speak, Jen?
Yep. This isn't my meeting.
My thoughts are, being an older council member and in the critical stage of all this, that I think our town council, like a lot of towns, everybody's doing it differently. We need to err on the side of caution. We have drop boxes. We have online payments. We've been working with the public not in there so far. I think personally, as we open up things, this virus will spread, but we certainly don't want ourselves of lawsuits or anything be an enabler and spreading this. So let's err on the side of caution and open it up later when the health department and we deem that it's necessary to open it. So that's my thought.
And Ron, I agree. People, obviously common sense. If somebody feels that they are highly susceptible to this virus, then it would be prudent for them not to be going to the grocery store and drive-through restaurants and other things in town hall. So those people need to make that decision if a visit to the town hall is right for them. But there's quite a few others.
Actually, when we made a decision on the dumpster, the town council made a decision to not have the dumpsters because of the spread of this. And we could say the same thing. Well, let the people go up there. But when those people go up there, then they go to the post office. So we all have to walk in that same door. They all go up to a restaurant or the gas station that we're all touching and everything. So why not be safe? Our Michelle and Tammy are doing a great job servicing the people. That everybody can make their payments. We're running the town business as normal. Let's just err on the side of caution.
This is Stan. I totally agree.
I don't recall the town council making any decision about the dumpster to have it or not. I think that was made by one or two individuals on the town council, not by town council as a whole.
It was made by the majority of the council and the recommendation of our marshal, Taylor.
Right.
And was emphatic on it. So.
Yeah. So the state of Indiana having a public health emergency to blanket the state. In these more rural areas where there is less transmission, evidently. But I don't think it's prudent that everybody be penalized by the actions of a few. So.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept this resolution, and get on with this and make a vote on it. Resolution, what is a resolution number? 2020-6, a resolution to restrict public access to the Dayton Town Hall for the duration of the public health emergency.
I second it.
Okay.
Okay. Any discussion? Additional? Okay. What's that?
Do we need a roll call vote?
Oh, there
Yes.
she is. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot which meeting this was. We need a roll call vote. How do you vote? Ashley?
No.
Vote Al?
Yes.
How do you vote Jen?
Yes.
How do you vote Stan?
Yes.
How do you vote Ron? Yes. So the majority passed a resolution to limit access to town hall. Okay. The next thing.
All right. So we did not need a motion to waive formal reading because I read it, but we just need a separate motion that you're allowing this to be adopted after the first reading and you're waiving second reading.
I make a motion to allow this to be adopted after the first reading, and we're waiving the second reading on the resolution 2020-6.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt this on the. We're going to have a roll call vote. How do you vote, Ashley?
No.
How do you vote, Al?
Yes.
How do you vote, Jan?
Yes.
How do you vote, Stan?
Yes.
And Ron, how do you vote? I vote yes. So the majority that passes the motion for the resolution. Anything else, Reed? Do you want to add?
Nope. I'll just need to get in touch everyone outside of the phone call to coordinate so that we can get this signed.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, the next thing under new and old business, one last thing is we have bring up about a update on the security system. We had Haley's give us an estimate on adding more interior and exterior cameras and a backroom storage unit and monitor for the council and the marshal access. The estimate is $3,250. Any comments on, or we need any comments or open it up for discussion?
I have a real problem with it. I don't know why we cannot add outside camera heads to our current security system. I think it's ridiculous that we spend taxpayers' money to duplicate what we already have, and I think this is political punishment to those few that oppose others.
I'd like to comment that this is updating our current system to enable it to have more storage, longer storage, be accessed by other people. Also, it'll be outside showing the gazebo, the front street, the intersection from the post office down to past the liquor store, and that intersection is going to get pretty busy with all this new building and housing and everything. So it's sort of like updating the computers a year or so ago and spending thousands of dollars. This will need to be updated, and we also need to we just need to update it. That's my fault.
Well, Ron, you're not updating anything. Let's be honest here. You are installing a completely separate system So now the town hall has security systems.
Okay, Ashley, we want to access it in the back room.
Who's
And
we?
we want it accessible by the council.
Who is we?
And
This is Al. My understanding of this, as I read it, was we are increasing the amount of surveillance for the town and increasing, along with the police department, our ability to keep our records longer and have more storage.
Yes.
Whether this is an update or a replacement system, it doesn't matter. This is what it costs to have those things.
Yes, thank you. Any more discussion?
Just so you guys are aware, the brand new surveillance system was actually bought last year, so it's not even a year old. And my current system can still take 4 more cameras, and everybody has access to the camera system. All they have to do is come in and ask. It's a public record. As long as it doesn't face any confidential things, it's a public record and anybody has access to it, and so does Marshall Taylor.
Okay, I make a motion.
We're putting in a duplicate system to serve the political needs of a couple of you, and that's a daggone shame to spend the town of Dayton's taxpayers' money to benefit a couple town council members. That's
Okay.
absolutely criminal.
Okay, I make a motion to
Little town.
get the new security system add-on and update for a cost of $3,250 as soon as we can, once they can get into the office when this virus thing's over.
I second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second.
Who's the second for the record?
Stan.
Stan, to update the security system. How do you vote, Stan?
I vote yes.
How do you vote, Jen?
Yes.
How do you vote, Al?
Yes.
How do you vote, Ashley?
No.
How do you vote, Ron? I vote yes. So the motion carries 4-1. The update our security system. All right. The next thing is we have approval of the allowance docket of 4/1/2020 to 4/30/2020.
I have a question.
Jen, you want to take this?
Yeah, I had a question about the allowance docket. On Tammy's time card, it had that we paid her for a holiday, and it was my understanding that in the handbook, it says the council reserves the right to offer part-time employees holiday pay at their discretion, and I don't remember that being talked about.
We had discussed that because Tammy's my employee, so I get to make that choice. And she has always been paid a holiday. I can pull every single one of her time cards since she's worked here, and she always has.
I disagree with you, Michelle, that she might have been paid, but it was against the current board's wishes. That we talked about this emphatically before when we were talking about perks and bonuses and other stuff, that she is an employee. I think our salary thing says that employees don't get any of these benefits. So,
and we also discussed about, because she's not an employee of the town, she's an employee of the clerk. So you guys said that you guys just get to dictate her amount that she gets paid or her hours. I dictate everything else.
No, you don't, Michelle. We dictate her compensation, whether it's a car, a gift, or whatever. If you, by your reasoning, you could put on 52 holidays or something if you wanted to. The town council determines the employee's pay. You get a director in the office of how you want her to do whatever you have her do, but the town council is responsible for paying her.
The salary ordinance shows that she just gets paid the amount and that she cannot get paid over 29 hours. Again, Ron, you and Ashley were both on the board last year, and she got paid for all of the holidays. Again, this is just another political thing. She has always
Why do
been
we
paid the
everybody
holidays.
keep talking about political stuff?
Yeah, they
Because,
keep bringing it
Al,
up.
this is all this is. You guys are spending taxpayer money just to watch me because you guys don't want to step foot into town hall. Everybody knows that we just bought brand new cameras last year.
It sounds like in this case, we're saving money up until you took over.
No.
Our employees do not get, it's up to the council whether they get holidays. And if that is the case, then I suggest that this council, as soon as possible, change whatever we need to change and have a new resolution, ordinance, or whatever, so that we don't have one employee getting this, another employee not getting it, and we keep it uniform across the board. Our council is
All
being
employees
fiscally
get holiday
responsible
pay.
now. So, okay. Any other discussion on this? Jen, what do you want to do about the allowance socket?
Well, I guess I don't know where to go from here if she's already been paid it.
Well, I think it was wrong being paid. I think you probably ought to make a motion for the allowance docket with the exception of the 6 1/4 hours of holiday pay, and then we fight that out later or something.
So you guys approved New Year's, Martin Luther King, President Day, Good Friday, I'm sorry. So you guys are fighting now, but you didn't say anything about New Year's, Martin Luther King, or President's Day. But now you have a problem with it.
You mean last year?
No, this year.
This is Jen, and if I had noticed, I would have had a problem with it, but obviously I didn't notice.
Well,
This is why we're looking into stuff.
This is Stan. Did we get the time cards for the past months?
Stan, you said that you do not want time cards, so Jen.
I have never said that.
Yes, you did at a meeting.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I think
We'll find it and I'll tell you.
I think the present board is under the conception that we didn't know she was getting that. So at some point, I guess she got.
You weren't examining your documents.
Let me finish it, Michelle. Well, it's hard to finish, look at your documents when you don't get them half the time, or you get them an hour before, or you got to come in there on your knees and beg to get the things, okay?
You don't have to beg, Ron, so don't use that excuse. I do not have to send them to you.
Yeah, so anyway.
I've already confirmed that with my attorney and State Board of Accounts.
I'll make a motion to approve the allowance docket, with the exception of 6 1/4 hours of holiday pay for Tammy, until we can work that out. Got a motion and a second to approve the allowance docket, with the exception of 6 1/4 hours of holiday pay. I want a roll call vote. How do you vote, Stan?
I vote not to pay, to approve the docket without paying the 6 1/2 hours.
Okay, so you vote yes to make a motion to approve with the exception of the 6 1/4 hours.
Correct.
How do you vote, Jen?
Yes.
How do you vote, Jen?
Yes.
How do you vote, Al?
Yes.
How do you vote, Ashley?
No.
How do you vote, Ron? I vote yes. So we made a motion to approve the allowance docket with the exception of 6 1/4 hours of holiday pay for Tammy.
Ron, can I say one thing?
Yes.
I would have to go back and look, but of all the time cards that I've gotten for Tammy, I believe this is the first one that was actually labeled holiday. So I would have been under the impression previously that when those hours were listed, she worked, and it's not that we were paying her for the holiday.
And I agree.
Well, anybody knows that January 1st is a holiday.
And I agree, Jen, that I was misled too on those time cards. I didn't see that, and it wasn't made aware to me. Now, I don't know if this is right or not, but I'd like to make another motion to reverse the other holiday paid the part-timers in 2020. not legal to do that at this time.
Ron, I would wait.
Okay. Okay. I just.
You voted 5-0 last year, Ron.
But this is a new year, Michelle. This isn't.
And you also don't control.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We need to move on. We'll look into that read later. We'll bring that up and look into it later. So.
Yes.
Okay, we got the claims docket. Moving on to the claims docket. First of all, I want to say thanks to Jen for putting the invoices we need to prove these claims into a Dropbox folder and sharing them with us. Michelle just yesterday sent them to Jen in 66 different emails after demanding that we go into the town hall to see them. Thank you, Jen, for putting them online and making it easy for us so that we can review these properly as we have to by the state law.
No, it's not state law that I had to send them. I did them out of the kindness of my heart.
Michelle. Okay, Jen, I'll turn it over to Jen for any questions on the claims docket.
I think the only question I had was about the mail drop cover at We Engineering. It was $265. I just didn't know what that was. What is that?
So in my office, there obviously is a drop box that is on my door, and it is unsafe because my back is to that. So anybody could put a gun in that mail hole. And Marshall Taylor, I had this discussion with him. He has been trying to get the clerk treasurers, the past two, to get a safety cover on there. And it has always been the understanding that anybody can spend $300 or up to $300 without board approval first. So it was a safety measure. So it is a steel box that was made and put on the door. So not only does it protect my safety, but it also is made to where people cannot put their hand in the drop box and grab people's checks out of it, because a officer from a different county had stopped in months ago to let me know that there was people going around and taking people's payments out of drop boxes. So this was a safety concern. Marshall Taylor worked with We Engineering to make sure that it was safety and it was done correctly.
Okay, Jen, do you have any other questions?
I don't.
Anybody else that on the claims? Can everybody hear? Does anybody else have any?
I don't have any
items with the claim?
This is Jen.
I have a question on the claims about the Colonial Life. Why are we paying that? I thought we said last month we wasn't going to pay it.
So I have talked to State Board of Accounts. My attorney and Reed discussed it yesterday. So my attorney called me before the meeting. I have also confirmed with Colonial Life because Reed discussed that he was concerned about liability. Again, this is an individual person. It is not coming out of Marshall Taylor's paycheck anymore. He is paying it out of pocket himself. But according to State Board of Accounts, Todd Codwell, I spoke with him. So we are just changing the name on it. There is no liability to the town. Again, it's coming out of payroll. So both my attorney and State Board of Accounts had said because it is coming out of payroll, so it's not town money anymore. It is the individual person's money, and they can choose where it goes. So as long as I have the documentation to prove where it's coming out of and that it's paid and that it matches, that I can continue to do so. So the only people that is being pulled out of payroll is for Tammy and I, no longer Marshall Taylor. So we are getting the name of it changed and getting that verification, and then we will address any concerns after that. But by the advisement of my attorney, he told me that I can continue to do so because I'm not spending town money. It's just a pass through, just like perf, just like taxes, just like child support.
Okay. I've talked to people too, and
I disagree with Michelle's attorney. And State Board of Accounts can't provide legal advice.
Who? I'm sorry?
The State Board of Accounts does not provide legal advice.
No, they were talking about, like, because I had let them know that you guys were not approving the claims for Colonial Life, and they said when they come in to do an audit, as long as I have the proper documentation showing that it is coming out of our individual checks, and that same amount is being paid to Colonial Life, and it's not the town out of the actual town funds, then they would not take audit exception, and that I was fine.
Yeah,
and they
that's
did tell
completely
me
separate from any liability when a
correct, and I just
contract
said,
with someone.
and again,
So
it's the contract
I'm asking
individual.
for clarification. Yeah, so can you explain that to me?
So that's what I was just
When
saying.
you say that there's
contacted
no liability, because if we have, I mean, if it has nothing to do with the town, then why are we still needing this to be approved on a claims docket, is my question.
because it's a paper trail. Everything's a paper trail. It's just like you see perf. It's just like you see taxes. So obviously, if I was sitting here taking the money out of payroll and holding it, it's just a pass through. That's all it is. Just like if somebody in town had to pay child support and they came to me and said, Michelle, I need you to take X amount of money out of my paycheck every month for child support, then I would have the withholding on their check. And then I would then have to send that money to the child support bureau or wherever I would have to send it. So therefore, since I was sending it electronically. Huh?
Child support is covered by Indiana code that all is approved and governed by a judge, has no relation to what we're talking about here.
Okay, well, I'm just going off of my attorney's
I'm asking you
recommendation.
about Colonial Life. I'm not talking about child support.
Right. So the only reason why it shows up on the claims docket is because the money is coming out of the payroll out of mine and Tammy, and it was Scott's, but not anymore. So it's being pulled out of our payroll, just like taxes and perf, goes into withholding, and then I pay that amount that was taken out of payroll or out of our...
Right, exactly. You pay it, right? You have an obligation
from the money that was
to pay
pulled.
that as the town clerk treasurer. And if you overpaid or if you underpaid, that would be a potential liability. I mean,
but obviously I have the proper documentation to prove each one that I pay. That is attached to show what I'm paying and where it's coming from.
yeah, I mean, that's just my point as to why the town council approval is necessary.
Well, like I said,
because there is a
payment.
payment. There is, yeah, but you're telling
correct,
them
but it's not town
that
money.
there's no, yeah, I just saying I disagree when you're saying that no town money is involved, when you're saying you have to cut a check to Colonial Life.
Right, from the money that we take from our own check. So it's the money taken from our own check.
Reed, can we make up an ordinance later to prevent this from happening? All I know is we had a town board meeting. The majority of the town didn't want to get this stuff started. We don't want it the next time to be somebody's house payment, car payment, life insurance, whatever. It's just a bad policy to start. I don't know why if somebody gets a check, they can't just go write a check to Colonial Life. We asked Scott. He immediately stopped it, and he gets paid, and then he writes a check. But it's a
well, according to my attorney.
Michelle, excuse me, please. Let me talk.
Well,
if it wishes, we already talked about this. We hashed it out. We are standing with Reed. He informed us that we have the right. We don't want this to happen just because you want to go out and run stuff through the checkbook. We don't want to. Whether we're gaining or losing or whatever, there's one more paper trail to keep rid of. And then all the employees, they start coming up and doing stuff. So I'd like to make an ordinance. I'd like to definitely not. We already ordered it not to be done, and you went behind her back and did it again anyway, Michelle. You didn't.
No, I did not go behind her
You
back.
just did
It's the
it.
functions of
Yes,
my
you did.
office.
No,
Well,
you don't.
my
Don't
attorney
give me
said I
that
could.
stuff, Michelle.
Well.
Don't let, you're the clerk of this town that's got things. You can't go out and pay your own stuff and run everything through the books of this town. So I don't know about
My
you.
question, Ron, is why are you?
I think we need to not pay this thing because we already asked for it to not to be. You went against our own motion before. I think you're breaking some kind of a law with us, or at least I'll
No,
make a
I'm
motion
not, actually.
that we do not run personal stuff through the books. The Colonial Life thing we should not pay. I don't know how to do it if we make a motion for the claims without and exclude the Colonial Life, but we do not.
Ron, I'm pretty sure if it was your idea, you would be completely fine with it. It's just because it's me.
Michelle, you don't need to talk to me, okay? Okay.
Well, I just did.
Anybody
Ron,
else have anything to say about this?
Everything is an ordinance if it wasn't done by Ron.
Michelle, if you
Ron,
want
is
to
this
pay it,
something
have it
that-
paid out of your own checking account, not the town's.
It's not. It's paid out of my paycheck.
No,
It
it's
is
not.
not
It's
town
paid out of
money.
the town's account.
Deposit
But it's
your
pulled from
paycheck
my
and pay
money.
for that thing. Michelle, what difference does it make? Don't give us a hard time. Let's move on with this. Okay?
Exactly, Ron.
Anybody else
It's
have
insurance.
anything? Does anybody else have anything on the claims? Anything else? Jen?
Yeah, I got another problem. The problem was the spraying of town hall. According to the information given to us, Ron, the chemical they're spraying in town hall is not approved by the state chemist. So therefore, it does not approve to kill the corona-19 virus.
Come in here when they spray it and you can't breathe, and then tell me it doesn't kill it.
I thought that's.
I'm just saying, it's not approved by the state chemist. If it's not approved by the state chemist, I'm not paying for it.
You're not paying for it. You don't even come in here.
I'm not either. If it's not, the idea of having that company come in was to disinfect it for the coronavirus. You know, so.
Number two problem I have with it is the contract that was signed by Ashley Stevenson. Since when is a town council member allowed to sign a contract without approval of the town council?
There was 3 votes. Jen, Ron, and Ashley approved it. Check your email.
No, it was not approved by the town council, period.
Yes,
Well, that's a
approved.
majority, Stan.
No, it
That's a
wasn't.
majority. That's
It was
3.
not approved. It was not approved in a town council meeting.
Yeah, well,
We approved, Michelle, you're partly right. We okayed the spraying of the town hall. We did not okay, we okayed Ashley to go ahead and tell them to spray it, not to sign an unlimited contract that there's no signature on the other side of it to begin with. It wasn't okayed with our town lawyer Reed, which it ought to be. And so the way I sort of scan this contract is it looks like we're forced to do it forever, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I think Reed ought to look at it. The one thing, going back, that we're not spraying a chemical that's going to kill this coronavirus, the heck with that. We'll get somebody that will. So I don't want to prove it either.
Well, the company, you know, you can cancel a contract at any time, okay? The company that's, providing the service.
Not the way I read it, actually. Read it again. You can't.
oh God.
The company that says that does kill the coronavirus, I'm unfamiliar with the state chemistry lab that Stan's referencing. Maybe it'd be nice to get a list from them saying what chemicals can be sprayed.
Look online. The state chemist lab is online.
Are they?
Okay. How about we do this? How about we okay it without the Colonial Life and without paying this spraying thing, at least on the spraying thing, and talk about it again, but we should not be paying it if it's not spraying for the coronavirus.
This is Jen.
Well, hold on.
As well. For me, when I said in the beginning, yeah, we should go ahead with it, I thought it made sense. But now it doesn't make sense to me to spray the town hall anyway when there's only 2-3 people going in there, because it gets sprayed, the 3 people come in, and if they did have it, it's contaminated again. So I don't know that it's actually doing any good to spray it.
Jen,
It's not getting
Then
Yeah.
there's actually 6 of us that come in, and you and Ashley both come in here. You have the whole time to get your mail. So you guys are presenting, so you're bringing what your husband brings home into town hall.
This is Jen.
yeah, Jen,
This is Jen. Real quick, I've been in there one time. It was after hours. I touched the back door after I sanitized my hands to walk in and touch nothing else but my mail and walk right back out. Just for the record.
But I touched that mail, and Tammy touched that mail.
It's okay. I
that's
washed my hands.
precise. Jen, I think that even though there's a few people or a lot of people need this, the idea is you still need to spray it. The idea is we aren't coming up and getting this stack of bills and everything that Michelle wants to put out there, because she indeed has touched everything. Tammy has touched things. There are 6 people in there, and we don't know what the heck is in that building. And for us older people, we're highly susceptible. So I do think we need to find somebody that can spray it right with a certified killer of coronavirus that's state approved. And until then, we don't have this company. I'd like to make a separate motion. We don't have them do any more spraying until we get something with the right product and the right people to do it.
All right, this is Reed. So last month, there was a claim for this cleaning service that was not approved. And now we're here in this, another month. So what is in front of us? I mean, is there a specific amount of an invoice that we're looking at for the initial spraying or
I
Okay,
think we
so
just
Reed,
$200.
the last meeting, the board said it's approved after getting the MSDS or whatever it is and the detailed of the stuff being used. And that stuff was sent to the board, I think, the day or 2 after the meeting. So they got all of that. There is a signed contract. So
but
that
doesn't
first
mean
invoice.
that they actually have to approve it at a public meeting. I mean, they
Okay, can I
denied
finish
it
talking
based
real
on.
quick? So that was the first invoice that they had, was the first 2 times. And then the invoice that's in there now, I called Ashley because Tammy was extremely sick and they thought that she had COVID and she had to go to the emergency room. So I called Ashley being in building and maintenance, and I said, hey, we had to send Tammy to the emergency room. We don't know what's going on. She's having trouble breathing. He told me, as building and maintenance, I got his authority to call them and have them come out and spray immediately. And she's been in the hospital twice. So that is why there is a second invoice on there. So I got the approval from building and maintenance, Ashley, and there's a signed contract. And the ordinance states that we can pay claim, or that I can pay claims prior to the town council's approval per contract, for signed contracts and agreement, and that is what we have. So unless they want to void that agreement.
But the contract, I mean, the problem is with the contract. You're saying that you can pay the claim based on the contract, but the contract wasn't approved by the town council. I mean, what I've said is you can't contract outside of a public meeting. So I'm not even worried about that. Like, what I'm trying to say is, we can't hire a cleaning service and approve them to spray and then not pay it just because, we now disagree with, the chemicals in it. If you guys want to, stop it, we can look at that. But I'm saying that I think that you guys need to pay them, especially the one that you guys, 3 of you approved.
It's this way on both ends. So this came with my
But
phone.
Anything that is approved outside of a public meeting, you have to ratify it at a public meeting. So we have to, do one or the other. But we can't just completely avoid the oversight process.
Okay, I agree with, on the first one, we did basically okay it. Michelle's right, we okayed it if they gave us a chemical list. We must have not checked the chemical list for a while, so they did the work. But now the question is on the second one. I don't know, my suggestion is we okay what we've got and end this now and find somebody that can do it right.
All right, all I'm saying is I want it for the record, for the one that you guys said last time, we just need more documents. I just want you guys to ratify that action right now because we're right here, and it just, it removes any doubt. So that's all I'm saying. If everyone's okay with paying the first invoices that you did not approve at the last public meeting, I'd just like a motion to do that, to clarify that. And then if you're going to pay the other one, then, let's take care of that. If not, then I can wait until next month.
Okay, let's start with the first one. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the first bill we got for spraying at the town hall?
I'm looking at my dockets. Sorry. I did.
I'd make a motion that we approve the, how'd you describe that, Ron? The first billing?
The first bill we got that we were waiting to get, what was in it the very first time, not the second billing, but the first one.
Okay, yeah, so I make a motion we pay the first billing that we got to spray the disinfectant in the town hall and police station.
Okay, do we have a second on that? So it's already been paid, right, Michelle, the first one?
Yep, because we have a signed contract.
So it's been
And
paid.
if that is the case, it needs to be ratified now. That is all I'm saying.
Okay. I think we ought to listen to Reed and ratify it now, whether it goes against every fiber of grain in our bodies. But he's right, we need to do it because it's been paid. So
right,
I second that
actually.
motion.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
I do not believe we should ratify it. The contract was illegal from the beginning. It was not reviewed by our attorney. It was not reviewed to protect the town.
No, this one
And
stands.
the only person that
There
can
were three of
sign
you.
a contract is the president of the board.
That is not true.
Not true.
No,
Not true at all.
this is separate from a contract that came later, but there was, my understanding from the record is that there were three people who approved this to be sprayed and also consider this as during a public health emergency, and there's restrictions on us being able to meet. But I don't even think a contract was at issue for that one. Maybe it was.
Yes, it was. It was already signed. Yes, it was already signed.
But I have concerns if we have three people approve it, and then you're now wanting to deny it. But it is up to you guys to vote whether you want to ratify that now or not.
Well, we have a motion and properly second.
Okay. And I guess that, let me say something first. Read on, when we okayed that an email in that emergency situation, we were also okaying something that was supposed to kill the coronavirus, and that's why we okayed it. And now it comes up that, yes, we did okay it, but the product wasn't put on that we thought was put on. It's like, if somebody has you plant a sugar maple and you go plant an oak, do they have a complaint? Do they have to pay you for it? So the product wasn't put on that we agreed to have put on. So I'm not sure how that throws it into it too.
Well,
Ron, I think it should be looked into.
I think you're
to
looking
prove.
at it the wrong way. I mean, you might have determined that the chemicals that they sprayed weren't what you were looking for, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that they notified you or you had access to know what they sprayed. I mean, if they sprayed an incorrect chemical or if they said, but I doubt that they said, because I mean, this coronavirus hasn't even been studied. I doubt that they said we're spraying something that is going to prevent the coronavirus. They're going to say we're going to spray these chemicals, and then they might have said it's our understanding that these chemicals will do that. But if they sprayed the right chemicals, that's what matters. Like that's the distinction.
Okay, they didn't read, and it was presented to us by Ashley that it will specifically kill other things and the coronavirus. So we okayed it on that alone. Thank you, Ashley. And then on top of, so we okayed it, then they came and sprayed, and then we found out later that it wasn't the proper product. So that's where we're at.
Now, wait a minute. Well, I don't know that's not the proper product, but evidently this Indiana State Lab doesn't recognize or hasn't tested that product. And if that's the case, then, the correct thing would be is to get hold of the cleaning company and ask them to use a product that the state lab approves. That I wouldn't. I don't know that they didn't use the right chemical that you're indicating. I think it just doesn't have the right approval.
Yeah, I have a problem with the way this has all been handled to begin with. So I don't know. I think let's look at it. They've already been paid on the first one. Let's get to the second one. We can think about that first one. Let's go. My suggestion is go to this claims docket and either okay it or not okay it. Okay it with some exceptions, or okay the whole thing, or don't okay the whole thing.
Yeah, I guess my question is, last time we had some things that were exceptions, and I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that and either deal with them or don't.
Okay, well, let's make the exceptions, or let's okay it exceptions, and then you tell us how to make it to where it's definitely an okayed legal exception. Okay. I don't know.
We made the motion. We made the second.
Okay, we got a motion. Tell me your motion again, Ashley.
To ratify.
To approve the initial claim from the cleaning company. Is that the right language, Reed?
Yes.
Okay.
It was the invoice that was for the initial spraying. It was on the claims docket in last month. So that was the motion, I believe, to ratify that action.
We have a motion and a second to ratify from Ashley to ratify that motion or something. So how do you vote, Stan? Yes or no? How do you vote, Jen? Yes or no? Okay. How do you vote, Jen? Yes or no?
Yes.
How do you vote, Al? Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Ashley, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
How do you vote, Ron? I vote no because of the new information I just gathered. So it passes still, but we ratified it by a majority of the board. Okay, let's move on to the claims then. Any more discussion on the claims? We've got anybody else? Jen, Al, Ashley, we've got a exception to claims.
Well, yeah, I've already got all my questions there.
Okay. Say that again, Al.
I already did some poking around on my own. I got all my questions answered. I have no more questions.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else got any questions?
I do not. This is Jen.
Okay, Stan.
I believe there was one other item from last month, not for the cleaning service, but that was an exception to that claims docket, that you wanted additional information before it was approved. You remember what that was? It was not Colonial Life, and it was not the cleaning service. I believe there was one other one.
I think it was the gas. It was the WEX.
Was the what?
Yeah. I think it was the WEX gas. Because Jen said she didn't have the receipts. There's 25 of them, they're in here in the envelope, and they match up.
Hey, Jen, have you satisfied your question?
I
on
didn't
that,
see
or-
them yet.
Okay, will you hold off on that one till we get a final, we look at them again, or?
Yeah, can we just make sure that we are tracking these? I mean,
Okay. All right, well, Jen,
And
if
just
you
remember,
can,
gas is automatic, like, it's already been taken, and that is an automatic withdrawal. Like, I do not submit a check for that. That is on automatic deduction. That's how it was set up.
yeah, we know that.
So, I
That's
mean-
okay. It's just that if one of those slips doesn't represent the right thing, or it's somebody's private thing or whatever, then we can bring it up. But that's why we have to check it. It's our job to. So, okay. Let's
Right,
get
and the
back to
receipts are all here
regular-
for examination.
Okay, good. Let's go back to the regular claims here. It's been brought up. Anybody else have any, Colonial Life was, somebody talking about not wanting to do that, I guess. Anything else? Do we have a motion of any sort?
You mean a motion to approve the claims with the exception of Colonial Life and
Yeah.
disinfecting?
Yes. And anything else you want? Just who wants to make a motion?
Reed, I thought you said that they couldn't because of it was approved by 3 board members and it's already been done.
well, they can decide whatever they want to do.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the claims as written with the exception and not pay Colonial Life, or not do that anymore, not pay it, and not pay the cleaning for the second bill for the cleaning, since the wrong product is being used and we're not safe. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. How do you vote, Stan? Yes or no?
I vote yes.
How do you vote, Jen? Yes or no?
Yes.
I would like more discussion.
Okay, I thought we discussed it, but what do you want to
Yeah.
say?
If that chemical is approved by the EPA and we have the kill time sheets and stuff like that from the EPA, are you still saying it's not the right chemical because it's not on the state's website? Even though it's on the
I think
EPA?
I think it needs to be state approved that it'll kill the coronavirus. So I think we need to look in.
Having EPA approval for that product and the kill time sheet from the EPA on that product would not be better than state only?
I don't
No.
know. I'm not.
The state chemist warned about snake oil salesmen trying to tell you they're disinfecting your product, your
Yeah,
business.
Stan, I understand that.
And-
I understand
And they
that.
put out,
But
they have a 40-page list of approved chemicals for the coronavirus. It's 40 pages long. So and that product is not on that list of 40 pages.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got some discussion here. We've got a motion and a second. Stan voted for the motion. Jen voted for the motion. Al, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay. Ashley, how do you vote? Yes or no?
No.
Ron, how do you vote? I vote yes. So the motion passed to okay the claims, except for the cleaning bill that we have and for the Colonial Life claims. Neither one of those, and it passes by 4-1. All right. Let me see what's next here. Okay. I think Town Clerk, your turn to talk, Michelle.
Okay, so that's not in the claims docket. I sent you guys a couple invoices that I just needed to be approved before I put them in there. So the first one is the invoice from Murtaugh Law for the town of Dayton, and that total is $1,160. That's our first hourly invoice. So I just asked for the approval of that one.
Okay. The bills you're bringing up, that's okay with me, but Reed, to be sure, these bills were presented in some form in the last 5 days, and it's okay for us to okay these when they're brought up like
These
this,
runs, Ron, these are from, you've had these bills since like the middle of March. I sent that with the the second quarterly invoice. Michelle just sent these to you again. So all of mine have been submitted well before any 5-day period.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion to approve Reed's bill of $1,060, I think?
I make a motion to approve Reed's bill.
It's $1,160.
Okay, 1,160. We have a second?
I second. That's Jen.
Okay, we have good, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve $1,160 for Reed's attorney bill. How do we vote? A roll call vote. Stan, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
Jen, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
Al, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
Or Ashley, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
Ron, how do you vote? Yes or no? I vote yes, so it passes to pay the bill unanimously, 5-0. Okay, next, Michelle.
So the next invoice is also for Murtaugh Law, but it's for work done for the Dayton Redevelopment Commission in the amount of $432.50.
Okay, need a motion to approve the bill for $432.50 for the Murtaugh Law Firm for the Redevelopment Committee.
I make a
I
motion.
make a motion to pay it.
Murtaugh Law, $400.50.
Okay, we got a motion by Jan. We need a second.
I second it.
We've got a motion on the floor and a second by Stan to pay the Reed's bill of $422.50. I heard it right, for the Redevelopment Commission. We need a roll call vote. Stan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Or no? Jen, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
Al, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
Ashley, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
On how do you vote? I vote yes. So the motion passes to pay the Reed's bill, Murtaugh bill for the Redevelopment Committee. Okay. Michelle, the next one.
So the next one is an invoice from my attorney that I received on 5/6. It is, you guys already allocated $600. This invoice is for $589. So I asked the board to approve the invoice for the clerk treasurer attorney in the amount of $589.
589, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now
And you guys
Reed,
approved 600 in February.
I agree. Reed, this comes back, we're okay to pay this because even though we approved it, it's been presented to the board in the last 5 days, right? It's okay to approve this one too?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, I don't remember if it was, are you asking me when it was presented to you?
Well,
or?
I understand
I
understand there's a law that says when you do the claims, any bills that are presented to a board in the 5 days prior, other than something that's according to our ordinance, that you can't legally approve them. And I just want to be sure that we can approve them in 5 business days. So I think some of these yours is different because it's already under a contract and all that. But I think the one coming up, if we find out, I would suggest we wait 1 month. One of them's a bill that I present. I think we need to find out for sure if the rule applies, because otherwise we're breaking the law.
I've checked into that, and there is not a thing. As long as it's presented with the proper state board detailed invoice to the clerk treasurer, I have not heard anything otherwise to the council.
Okay,
I've checked into it.
I disagree, and I would really feel safe if Reed would check into it. And the minute he checks
I'm looking at something that says, I see 36485A2, which applies to cities, and then the second one, 36544A2, applies to towns. It says both statutes require claims to be filed in the manner prescribed at least 5 days before the meeting of the applicable approving body. However, if the city or town has passed an ordinance to allow certain claims to be paid by the fiscal officer between board meetings, then the 5-day requirement does not apply for those particular types of claims. So, that's all. That's what the law says. And I don't know if this meets, it falls within our ordinance.
I don't think it does. I think that my bill that I presented needs to wait just to be safe, because from what I've researched, I think we would be doing something illegal, and I will not personally vote on that myself. I think we're breaking the law. So I think
I'm sure it's because it's my attorney bill.
No, it's not, Michelle. The next bill I think you want to present is a bill from me and Jen to get paid, put money in our pocket. But actually, I want to ask why some of these, the bill that I presented to you from Jen and me for going on the listserv was given to you 2.5 weeks ago, and why it was not put on the regular claims that held till right now.
Because it was something that you did without the board approval. So I talked to State Board of Accounts, and they said that I could have it individually approved because that's for reimbursement that you did outside of council approval.
Okay, we're all allowed, we got an ordinance, we're all allowed to spend up to $300.
No, we do not have an ordinance. We do not have an ordinance.
Okay, everybody goes down. Was my understanding we got an ordinance paid, but you can still put it on the claims, Jen, or Michelle, and put it on the claims, and then we talk about it with the claims. Why do you have to single it out separately and put it on there? And if we get into this, we're going to be applying Mark, Scott, anybody goes down and they don't have board approval to buy a lot of this stuff. They just go buy it. Supplies, anything, road stuff. This is schooling, whatever. You can't just, that's an excuse, Michelle. It's a
Did I put the other attorney fees or my attorney fee in the claims docket? No, they're all being presented here separately. And the only reason why you're denying it is because it's my attorney, even though you've already allocated the money.
Mine was given to you 2.5 weeks ago. Yours might have been presented in the last day or two. I don't know.
You actually gave me yours a month ago, and it was from February.
Okay, Michelle, you just used a few minutes ago the $300 rule without getting it approved by the council to buy that lockbox in your office. Now,
that was a safety hazard,
yes. There is a $300 rule. There is a $300 rule out there. It's always been, unless it's been canceled, that I don't know of. So let's just
right, but it's not in writing.
My bill, your lawyer's bill, and whatever else. Do you have any others that have been presented in the last 5 days? I make a motion or whatever needs to be done that we do not pay these until they become absolutely legal that we know of. Okay? So I make a motion not to pay those.
I second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second not to pay the lawyer bill and Ron Kohler's bill that's put in there. How do we vote? Stan, yes or no?
Yes.
Jen,
not pay
yes
it.
Or no?
Yes.
Right. Jen, yeah. Okay, Al, yes or no?
Yes.
Ashley, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no? Yes. So we'll just wait on paying those bills, until we can get past this 5-day rule. It'll probably be just our next meeting we have. I don't think anybody's going to starve to death by not getting this little bit of money paid.
No, but then that will be the violating the 30-day rule.
Michelle, was there any other bills you had?
Nope, you already blacked out my other things, so.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Michelle. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Okay, now, it wasn't on the agenda, but Michelle's put on there added the attorney fees. I'd like to say something here. This is just a couple comments, so the public all knows about this. I do want to talk about Michelle's lawyer. We approved $600 already against our better judgment. Michelle wants $12,000 to $15,000, and I'm not ever going to vote for that. And I think there are others who won't either. That would be a gross misuse of the taxpayer money. The law doesn't say how much we have to appropriate, and I, for one, am not in favor of approving much more than we already have. Michelle can use the money we appropriate on the terms she sees fit, but we're not going to approve much more, or I'm not going to at least. We are all adults, and if we all put our petty, vindictive attitudes aside, including mine, then there's no reason we can't work cooperatively. Michelle wants her own attorney because she doesn't like the answers she gets from Reed, our attorney. Reed is doing his best to follow the law and advice from the State Board of Accounts. We don't want the townspeople to pay for an attorney to bully and harass the council and Reed. I don't believe the law intends for a clerk to waste taxpayers' monies litigating her own personal grievances. Does anybody else want to weigh in on this? So I open it up if anybody wants any comments on it. I just wanted to say that. Now, we're supposed to talk about attorney fees, I guess. Michelle?
Okay, so, because I did have it on the agenda and I sent the board a letter, so then you blacked it out. But so since we're talking about it, I asked the board to approve $11,400 for the remaining of the $12,000 that I asked for attorney fees for the year of 2020.
Okay. First of all, you asked me for the agenda last Friday. I gave it to you on Monday or so, and it did not have that on there. So you added it to the agenda that the town council makes, which is probably okay if you'd ask or something. But anyway, anybody got any comments on this?
Right, but I make the agenda for my own office, so.
You make it at the will of the board for our council meetings. I did
correct,
that
but when it comes to my office, I put my agenda items on there.
Yeah, but you do it through the town council president. I did that for 12 years, and that's the way it's done. So any other comments on this extra money for the lawyers?
I think you guys should approve more money. That's the same thing that I recommended before. You know, the statute does require or permit Michelle to hire an attorney. I think that you need to appropriate a reasonable amount. And if you don't, then you potentially will incur a lot of attorney fees over litigation. It's up for you to decide, you know, whether you want to do that or not, or what the amount is.
Okay.
Reed,
Reed, I agree with Jeff. You know, when Mr. Kohler was clerk treasurer, you know, the town did pay quite a bit in legal fees for his lawyer being a town clerk.
What lawyer did I have, actually?
I don't remember the gentleman's.
You mean the $400 bill? Is that it? I didn't go after the council. I didn't ask for an extra lawyer to fight the council day in and day out. I didn't. So don't even go there with that, Ashley. For God's sakes.
Ron, you hired your attorney to threaten the council. There's a news article about it.
Yes.
I hired an attorney to protect myself, just like I hired somebody to look in when the last board tried to steal my land and spend $12,000 with a fake engineer, okay? So You have to sometimes. I don't hire an attorney to go after the board on is who gets to put out the agenda, who gets, oh, you said this right or wrong. I want to put a stack of coronavirus papers out on the table and make them all come in on their knees and touch it all. I don't do that. I never have done that. I worked for the darn town free half my life. So anybody else want to comment on this lawyer thing?
Reed, this is Jen. You said that we have to approve a reasonable amount. I think that's the word you used. Who determines what an appropriate or reasonable amount would be?
You, the town council. That's my
Here,
recommendation.
this is Al.
You know, I agree
This is Al.
that, you know, that it's a, there's not law that directly says one way or the other whether, you know, one interpretation is that it's an unlimited amount, that, you know, the town council's hands are tied. You know, theoretically that appropriation request could be made for $1 million or more that could bankrupt the town. You know, that's one legal interpretation, that if this went to court, the judge could find that to say, yes, that's what the law in Indiana says. Or the other could say that, no, it's not unlimited. There are, you know, restrictions, and it's appropriate for the town council to limit it. You know, that statute doesn't say directly one way or the other, and you know, this hasn't been litigated before. So my recommendation, based on where the law is right now, is that you should appropriate more money, a reasonable amount. And you know, if you don't, honestly, if you don't feel that it's, you know, Michelle is using it for the right purpose or whatever, that's kind of outside of your control. You know, I mean, all you can do is look at the amount, and you know, hopefully, you know, this won't become overly expensive for the town. But you know, my concern and you know, because this is really the only time this has come up. You know, $600 was appropriated. Now this is the second request. You know, I'm just worried that if you don't appropriate something, the court would look at $600 as insufficient. You know, or whatever amount that you do right now. And you know, that's all I'm saying is, and it's completely, you know, up to you. You know how much the town has spent on this in the past. You know, they're typically this has not been in the budget. This is, you know, something new. You know how much you spent on, you know, the town attorney, which is, you know, a different scope. But I do think that, you know, this is where you guys are at right now. You know. Okay. That's all I can do. You know, that's all I can recommend and advise.
Is it possible to, a couple of things. First of all, way I understand is her attorney, we don't want to give money just to fight us on everything. I think a lot of this is just still stemming over from political stuff from the election. Could we have a private meeting, an employee meeting that's closed, and try to hash this out and come to some terms, or we can all get along? That would be my thought. Otherwise, if their lawyers already come back and I think argued with you, Reed, you said earlier, and I can see it being now, instead of the board arguing back and forth, I can see an attorney that has dollar signs in their eyes that defends Michelle, and everything will be an argument, and we'll still end up in court, and we'll still be having nothing but thousands and thousands and thousands of attorney fees. I mean, we're talking about some of this stuff, getting an attorney to check in after you make a ruling, Reed, on something not that important. And then she comes back and their attorney says, no, I'm turning it over to my attorney. I mean, you know, I personally don't want to.
No, there is no agreement that we can sit down and do. It's just, you guys, as what your role is to make a determination on this appropriation it's a yes or no, and if it's a yes, it's the amount. Really after that point, it's, the law says that it's the clerk treasurer's responsibility to use those funds as she sees fit. And,
That's right.
just like you do with me. I mean, so we're not going to, I don't think that we need to continue this to have a, settlement agreement. I mean, the only thing we would be discussing is, numbers or, their explanation for numbers, but that's an unknown. Obviously you guys want it to be used for something that's beneficial to the town. I understand your concern that it wouldn't be, and, but the law doesn't protect you in that sense.
Okay. I just think we'll be then having two lawyers going back and forth. But I myself think we ought to sort of shelve this for another month and think about it a little more and get a little more legal representation, think about and look into things, and hopefully that maybe Michelle and the board can come up with some private agreements that we can get along, because that's certainly what I want to do. But I don't want to have to walk into and and get some virus either, because I have to walk into an office. So I don't know how you guys feel. What do you guys want to hold off for a little bit? Do you want to allocate some money? What do you want to do?
This is Al. I'm going to reserve any comments. This needs to be thought out a lot more. This is really strange to me that I'm seeing that we're going to have two legal bodies helping make decisions and moving forward in the town. I'm a little uncomfortable with this.
Okay, thank you, Al. Anybody else?
I think we need to wait.
Okay, anybody else? Okay.
Can I
I'd like to make but go ahead.
Okay, so this isn't only the second time that I've asked for this. I have been asking for attorney fees since the January monthly meeting. So if you guys have already gotten my letter with a timeline of the 20th. So if you are denying to approve the $11,400 today, then I'm asking the board to approve $15,000 in litigation fees, because I'm not waiting anymore. This has been going on for 5 months. And my attorney, and Reed as an attorney, should understand that for work that he's done for 5 months, he's not going to want to wait 8 to 10 months to get payment. And that's not fair to ask for any attorney. And I guarantee you Reed wouldn't accept it either.
Well, he should have put the bill in on
What
time.
work that your attorney is doing? I mean, how do you justify
He
that?
can invoice. I mean, we just received an invoice for January work. There's nothing that prevents him from sending an invoice.
What's the point of sending an invoice when the council has done nothing but play games with me? This is the reason why this is my second year in office, and Reed, you and I and the council.
Because all that has been done is $600 has been appropriated. An amount for less than the amount appropriate has just been received, and it was considered, and it will be approved when it can. But, you can't say that, oh, he's not getting paid for all of this time.
Okay, well, I sent you guys my letter.
There's no restriction on invoicing below the appropriated amount. I mean,
well, I think an attorney, well, I'm not going to discuss it any further. You guys obviously do not want to approve the $11,400 today for the remainder. So I'm asking for $15,000 in litigation fees.
Thank you, Michelle.
And you have until the 20th.
Thank you, Michelle. You said that.
You're very welcome.
I think my thing is, I as a council don't want to be blackmailed. I as a council
Be sure I'm
that, I hope we have insurance. If our town clerk over this pettiness stuff wants to take us to the town for thousands of dollars, then I guess you'll have to go ahead, because I suggested, Michelle, sit down and try to work it out, but you haven't suggested anything. said let's
Ron,
think
you've
about
never
it.
wanted to work anything out. You and Jen both refused to step foot in here, even with the marshal being in here with you. So this is just an excuse.
Even with your 6 people in there contaminating everything in an office that is not safe to kill the coronavirus and touching all the
Just
stuff.
because Stan says that the chemicals are not right does not mean it's true.
I make a motion that we don't pay anything now and we look into it later.
Okay, I will take that as a firm refusal of my
Okay, we have
my
a
request.
motion and we have a motion and a second.
Can I ask a
Look into
question, Ron?
Yes.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. Michelle, you're going to sue over money that you've not even spent with your lawyer yet?
It is no different than the town making a salary ordinance with Reed's month or yearly fee. So we have asked for the yearly appropriated amount of $12,000 for the whole year, and he agreed not to charge me any more than $1,000 a month. Obviously, with COVID going on, I've not met with him much or had to talk to him much about things. So obviously, not every single month is going to be $1,000. But since the board wants to dictate and Reed wants to interpret the law the way that he wants to, you know, everything has been a battle with you guys. I have not been the one to fight. I have been more than accommodating. I know you guys put on a show for the public. So this is it.
Okay.
But that money was never appropriated. That wasn't appropriated in the salary ordinance.
No, because I didn't think I was going to need an attorney. I didn't for my first year in office, but apparently I do now because of the blackmail, backlash, and harassment that I've received. So
Okay, Jen.
that's my end of my discussion. You can approve or deny.
That's why you got an attorney, is even after the election and before the board was seated?
No, I did not hire my attorney until January 17th.
You just said you said you presented this in January.
At the January meeting, after you guys already had 3 meetings and already started trying to dictate the operations and functions of my office. Everything I bring to you guys is a fight. Just like town hall, doing the resolution is to enable me from doing my job and providing to the public. It's just another.
Like this is at the outcome of the election.
It's because you guys don't like me. I mean, that's all it is.
It's all the election now. Her team lost and she's mad. So let's get on.
No. I have offered Jen numerous times to come in here.
Michelle, please be quiet. We have a motion and a second not to pay this at this time and to look into Michelle's lawyer and the legality and everything later and discuss it later. Is that okay to make a motion like that?
I think there needs to be some dates on this motion. You know, later's pretty broad.
The date of my letter is the 20th. That's the end of my deadline, and then I move forward.
I'm making a motion to delay this until the next town board meeting so we can have time to look everything over, collect our thoughts, and not be harassed and bullied by our town clerk. So I make that motion, and it's been seconded. There's your date, Ashley. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. How do you vote, Stan?
Yes.
How do you vote, Jen? Yes or no?
Yes.
How do you vote, Al? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you vote, Ashley? Yes or no?
No.
How do you vote, Ron? Yes. So at 4-1, we've got a motion to hold off on paying anything and look into this till the next meeting.
My lawsuit will be filed before then, so that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Miss Town Clerk, for standing behind everything. So, okay, now we've got reports of council members. Al, do you have any reports?
No, I have none.
Okay. Ashley, do you have any reports?
Yes. Evidently, and I recently found out about it, there was a complaint made with the public access counselor office, and public access counselor has replied back to that complaint. and I request copies of it from Reed, and he emailed it to all the town board members, so everybody knows what we're talking about. It appears to me on that complaint that there does need to be a meeting of the town board to address that and discuss what action that we would take, to rectify the situation. And I've not heard anything about it. I didn't see it on the agenda. And again, I think we need to, meet maybe in an executive session. Reed can guide us on that and discuss this.
Okay. What do you think about that, Reed?
Yeah, all I can say is this would allow, this would be grounds for an executive session. So if you guys want to meet in executive session, you can. There cannot be a settlement conference unless we had a mediation, just because we still have to follow, a settlement conference including all of the town council, would not be something that we could do. That's not what an executive session is for. That's just for the town council to meet all together in a closed door meeting. So it's whatever you guys want to do, and
okay.
I think we can, discuss
Anybody?
that outside of a public meeting, or you guys can discuss it now.
Would anybody like to set up a meeting for discussing that Ashley asked about?
It's kind of hard to set a meeting up now with the virus going on. We can't get in any closed door.
Would it have to be Reed a phone?
Yeah, and I would have to ask if, that they would allow for a remote executive session. I don't know.
Why don't you check into that and let us know, and then maybe we can set up something. So, okay. Anything else, Ashley?
If you haven't had opportunity, y'all drive by, take a look at Harrison Street, and also drive by, take a look at Dayton Road South where Baker Farms is going in. There's a lot of stuff going on in town right now. I think we ought to get some of that put on the town's website. There's a lot of money being spent in the Dayton area, and part of it grant money, part of it private investment. And I think we got a lot to crow about.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to say? Council, Stan or Jen?
No.
Hey, Jen?
Nope, I have nothing.
Okay. I'd like to take 3 minutes here and say something. Okay, I've got a couple of things to say. I'd like to remind all of you that the public health emergency is sure to impact our town finances. We're spending a ton of money right now following through on things left over from the previous council, not the least of which are professional fees associated with annexation, Tifting, and the Yost Drive project. On top of that, I fully expect our funding from miscellaneous revenues to decline a lot because of the public health emergency and the people not gambling, traveling, buying new vehicles, etc. It is possible that our distribution from property taxes will take a hit because people aren't paying their property taxes on time. I'd like our council to watch their spending and look for ways to cut expenses or at least delay them. I also want to let you know on this annexation that anybody that's listening now, that the Carr family farm has a petition to rezone up before the area plan on the 20th of this month to rezone the land along Haggerty Lane. It's 98 acres, which is part of our annexation and tipped area, and they want to rezone it to I-3, which is warehousing. This designation leaves the land open for large warehouses along the entire area, which is against what Dayton's land development plan shows right now. This plan was developed, our plan was developed by Area Plan in Dayton, and it is not being followed last year or this year. The town council has sent a letter the present town council sent a letter to area plan asking for the rezone petition to be denied until the land is annexed, so that Dayton can be the final authority on what goes in there and what goes on there. We had talked to the Carr family and lawyer and asked them not to rezone until we have the land annexed. They have refused. So if the rezone goes through before the annexation does, then large warehouses will be built there. So do we want parks or trails or shopping areas and housing for the townspeople, or we got to decide if we want a bunch of large warehouses? I'm asking the Dayton residents to contact me and the other council members and to write letters to area plan asking them to deny the rezone petition until Dayton has annexed the land and has control over the area. If they push their way through with this rezone, the council then and town people will have to decide on whether to proceed with the annexation and what to do with that area up there. So we need to act fast and before it's too late. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that we need to really be thinking about that up there. Again, I want to thank Jen for setting up this meeting like last month. I know it takes a lot of effort and it's come off pretty good. So if anybody else got anything to say, or do we want a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we got a motion. We got a second?
Second.
I second it.
I second it.
Okay, 3 people seconded. We got a motion and a second. How do you vote, Stan? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you vote, Jen? Yes or no?
Yes.
How do you vote, Al? Yes or no?
Yes.
How do you vote, Ashley? Yes or no?
Yes.
And how do you vote, Ron? Yes or no? I vote yes, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.